So, you've got the rundown for your character. Hell, you might even have a good idea on how much detail to give them. Wink wink nudge nudge. However, knowing isn't doing, and now you find yourself asking, where the hell do I go from here? Allow me to introduce you to the greatest players in the artistic world. Shapes. The thing about these so-called shapes is that we all know them. Or do we? You can tell a lot about a character based on their general shape design, and that's because shapes have mastered the art of subconscious human communication. One glance and these little things can worm themselves into your brains, filling your heads with all sorts of ideas. Don't worry, all their ideas are really great, and you should listen to all the voices in your head. Allow me to break it down for you. Take the triangle, a simple yet strong shape. In fact, triangles are the strongest shape when it comes to foundation. They can also be sharp, intense, and a little bit cold, but put them in the right environment and they can be seen as quite elegant. Not to mention, there are so many different kinds of triangles, but I really don't like geometry, so we're not going to get into all of that. Next, ponder upon the humble circle, a docile, friendly shape. Most things that are considered cute to people tend to be round and soft. Circles can also be attributed to high energy and levels of joy. However, it's also important to remember that circles are considered the perfect shape. They're completely symmetrical and have a basically infinite number of sides, which can be great for subtle mysterious intrigue, and really bad for anyone trying to hand draw one. Finally, let's look at the dependable square. Squares are solid, sturdy team players that can offer a sense of stability. Their structure makes them very hard to break into, and in the same sense makes them very hard to get out of their four-cornered ways. I was really trying to avoid saying uptight or stubborn, but that didn't really work. Of course, shapes and their symbolism can go far beyond the simple characteristics I listed. If you really want to get into the details of it, feel free to do your own research, yada yada, you know the drill. Also, hey, here are some characters that I think have some really cool shape work. Now wait, before you go running off, there's one more thing about shape language that you should keep in mind. Your character's cohesivity, and by that I mean their overall silhouette. This is a pretty common thing you'll hear across the art industry, particularly when it comes to animation or whatever. Usually professionals will say something like, "Your character has to have a very distinctive silhouette. Everyone should know your character through outline alone." And while I think that idea can hold some merit, unless you're trying to make a very distinctly cartoonish character, that's not really an idea that can apply to everyone's art. And so, I bring us back to the idea of cohesivity. If you find yourself stuck, it's never a bad idea to take the time to step back and look at your character's silhouette, asking the question, can I get a vague idea of what's going on? And by that I mean, can I tell what they're wearing? Can I make a good guess at where their arms and legs might be? Can I imagine how their clothing is moving? Broad things like that. From there, you can push proportions around and adjust, contrasting different lengths and widths throughout your design. Don't feel afraid to exaggerate things for the sake of readability, fun, and whimsy. Okay, that's my lecture on shapes and character design. Use it or don't. I don't really care. As a reward for those of you who've watched the whole video, here's a little comparison of how I've used shape language to improve upon my design over the last couple of years. Wow, look at my amazing development. So many triangles and developing eye motifs. Anyways, yeah, that's it. Okay, bye. Subscribe for more art stuff later.